What items for under 10 US dollars would amaze people from 100 years ago? A solar-powered calculator. Dude! They were still a couple of years out from the physics theory that led to photovoltaics. The plastic casing and computer chip as well would be fantastically advanced to them. This gets you 3 mind-blowings in one. Good answer. Laser pointer. My girlfriend bought a laser pointer at the dollar store earlier this week. That blows my mind. I got a web camera there for $3. About 20 years ago, a company I worked for bought a digital camera. Same 640 by 480 resolution for $1,000. My grandmother was 100 before she passed away. She had an answer for this question. Her answer was a little broader since it didn't have a price cap, but it fits. Scotch tape. Have you ever tried to wrap a present with twine? Scotch tape became the go-to tool for most home projects. This woman didn't have indoor plumbing until her 20s, didn't have refrigeration until her 30s, didn't have a car in the family until her late 30s. She saw every world war, the birth of the airline industry, saw the population of the US grow by 10 times, rode a horse for the first 30 years of her life, saw the birth of electronics, the highway system, the emergence of antibiotics, the space program, Velcro, television, washing machines, satellites, mass production. Nope. Scotch tape changed her life. Everything else was a convenience. She was also a bit of a wit, so she might have been half kidding. My grandfather, who lived to be nearly 100 when he died in the 90s, said that the biggest innovation he could think of being developed in his life wasn't a thing at all. It was the process and feedback control of supply chains. It let him eat exotic fruit at relatively reasonable prices in the dead of the Canadian winter, ensured there was fuel for his car, and he could FedEx a present to his relatives in Western Europe in just a few days for about the same price as sending a package the slowest way possible cost in the 1940s. A digital watch, though they would undoubtedly find it unattractive. Ziploc bags, ideal for storing leftovers to help stretch your food dollar. Calculator, calculator watch. That 20 questions gadget. It never guessed when I was thinking of the 20 questions device itself. Someday it will achieve self-awareness though. I would say a pregnancy test. The ability to pee on a stick and divine the future might impress someone. It impressed me when I was able to get a handful of them at the dollar store last week. My grandfather ran a blood lab in the 1920s where they did pregnancy testing. For every test they had to kill a rabbit for the antibodies in its blood. He would be amazed if he were around. That's where you get that old expression, the rabbit died. If a man said the rabbit died, that meant his wife was pregnant. Funny story. A friend of mine met up with my family and his girlfriend's pet rabbit had really died that week and he told us. My dad thought he was using the old expression and said, "Congratulations!" And the friend said, "For what?" "Your girlfriend is pregnant," my dad said. The friend says, "How did you know?" They hadn't told anyone yet. One of the greeting cards that plays music. A photograph of the Earth. Earthrise still blows my mind. Sheet of plexiglass or polycarbonate. Clear like glass but shatter resistant, light and incredibly flat. Unit cost is so low because of many underlying technology and advancements. Polycarbonate is pretty expensive. Sheet metal is still cheaper. Retail? That intuitively seems opposite. Depends on exact specs, I'm sure. The hand warmer things you buy in the checkout aisle at Walmart. Just open it. Contact with the air equals heat. Hand them a large movie popcorn and tell them it costs $9.99. That'll freak them out. According to an online inflation calculator, that would be the same as $229.02 today, so your theory checks out. Tupperware. A cheap vibrator, like a pocket rocket. When I was younger, I would play a NASCAR game on my PS2. I would go into a race and purposefully pop all my tires. With the tires popped, my controller would vibrate and I would put the controller on my junk. Candy, or any food for that matter, with artificial colors and flavors. Imagine their reaction when they're given something blue raspberry flavored. Blue raspberry? But raspberries are dark red. What's going on here? Well, we used to color them dark red, but that ended up giving everyone cancer. So yeah, we just went with the only color we had left. Diapers for babies. My great aunt bought some Pampers way back when, and you had to pin them. Now they are completely convenient with the Velcro tabs, and you don't have to rinse them out. You can find diapers for under $10 a pack. Loves aren't that expensive. You can get a small pack of them at Walmart for $6. How about a $10 second-hand store microwave? Where would you plug it in? And before anybody talks smack, not everybody had wiring, and the wiring they had was crap. A picture of astronauts on the moon. I like this one because it combines so many incredible modern inventions. Amazing to think that happened just 55 years after 1914. A book about World War II. I'd pair it up with a book on the Cold War. A Happy Meal. I don't know what would confuse them more, the burger or the toy. Or the fact that it promises to keep you happy, but it doesn't. Dragon Dildo. Go a few years further and you could impress a few folks down at the tavern with your trophy. Where are you buying dragon dildos for $10? Seriously, I'd like to know. A new $5 bill. The security features alone are so advanced it would blow minds. That and spray cheese. And it has Lincoln on it, so they'd recognize him. A color photograph of Barack Obama in the Oval Office. Penicillin. Dippin' Dots. They're from the future. They'll change everything. Disposable cameras. They had flexible film in 1914, although it was nitrate based and rather flammable. Experiments in color photography were underway also. The image quality would not have impressed them. The resolution of film per square inch hasn't improved much, neither has the resolving power or contrast of lenses in the standard focal length. Film has gotten more light sensitive. Digital has continued this improvement, but an 8x10 inch glass plate negative from 1914 has detail resolution comparable to a 36 megapixel digital camera. Scanning archival photos is a big part of my job. LED microlight, laser pointer level, neodymium magnets, Lexan cutlery set, digital pen thermometer, solar path lights, plastic battery powered toothbrush, or just a pack of ordinary batteries. Imagine if they had knowledge back then. We would have such awesome e-cars with huge range, smartphones with days of power without recharging. A holographic Pokemon card, a glow stick, a packet of antibiotics. One of the lollipop toys that vibrates music into your head when you touch your teeth with it. Disposable electronic cigarettes. People loved tobacco back then. A cheap cassette voice recorder. They would be blown away that you could record what they say and play it back to them instantly. The recording gramophone was invented in the 1800s. Yeah, but they were prohibitively expensive, and it is likely that very few people even knew they existed. Plus, the sound fidelity and portability alone would absolutely amaze them. A handful of various electronic parts, namely transistors. I demonstrate how they work to scientists and explain how they can be used. Transistors have done more to advance human civilization than any other piece of technology we've ever come up with. If we could have had them 30 years sooner, imagine where we could have been today. A book of inventions from the last 100 years. Any decent action figure with over 10 to 15 points of articulation. The plastic and craftsmanship would wow them, and then explaining that these are mass-produced for children would blow them away. The only small stuff that was that small, detailed, and precisely made were mechanisms for machines and guns, and those were not cheap or made in large quantities. Dude, Transformers. Cheapo shortwave radio. Simple enough for them to understand how advanced it really is, advanced enough to blow their mind. They started working on it in 1896 and got it to work in 1927. If anything, you would just be some guy who figured it out first. Regardless, if you couldn't send or receive transmissions, you would just have a box that couldn't do anything. Yeah, but this will be a small shortwave. Old shortwave radios were massive. The engineering would blow their minds. Wikipedia would not only amaze people, it would change the world in a matter of weeks. What can you transport and read it on for under $10? Microfilm was designed for this sort of problem. The actual information is recorded on rolls of film that are relatively cheap. All you need is a bright light and a microscope to read it, both of which were available 100 years ago. Pop rocks. Deodorant. I used a Pentium 4 computer with a 40 gig hard drive, Half-Life 1 running on a 3DFX Voodoo 3 video card, a Sound Blaster OR32, and internet multiplayer. Think you mean a Pentium 2 in the 200 to 300 MHz range. Would fit the era better. LCD watch. One of those really cheap handheld games, like the ones you get from a McDonald's Happy Meal. I saw someone say a picture of Obama in the Oval Office. How about something more imminent and potentially equally offensive to some people at the time? A photo of women voting. A photo of women voting for Obama. A photo of a black woman voting for Obama in the South. Wouldn't be too hard to get. Massive supply of bottle rockets from a 3-for-1 sale after the 4th of July. LED flashlights. A cheap MP3 player from DL Extreme. A Bop It. Nail clippers. 2 modern Lego bricks. Small transformer toy. Lava lamp. CD. Mechanical pencil or pen. LED flashlight. Dual flavor gum. Electric razor. Electric pencil sharpener. Multicolored pen. And a cup of soup. Calculator. Heck, I remember 40 years ago a calculator that could do trigonometric functions costing well over $200. That's $1973. Nowadays, you can get a Texas Instruments scientific calculator that does trigonometric and logarithmic functions for under $10. Remote control helicopter.